Hello everyone, it's Nomir again with another Blast update. Um, Around July 18th, you may remember that I uploaded a video explaining how the Blast leaderboards work. That was April. Yeah, there's something I'm going to be touching on in this video that just a little bit annoyed by. And the fact that I'm making this video makes a point that I don't really care. So you may remember that I showed this email before. Whenever I sent them the email, I told them that it was to get the most appropriate information for my YouTube channel on there. On how the leaderboards worked. All right, so there's been some changes to the leaderboard. Not major changes right now, but just their idea of balancing the leaderboard, which I mean it's fine. The change doesn't really make a huge difference. The changes with the time triggers, as you can see here in the original email, time triggers, anything higher than 0 will get you 10 XP per trigger. Now I'm going to move on to the email that I sent in order to get the updated information, and then I will show you the updated information. I'm going to pause while I switch over to that. Okay, so this is what I sent. I replied back to Keith, who was answering the support ticket before. I want to address this information you gave me in leaderboard week 1 for my videos. I want to know if there's changes, obviously, because so I can keep everyone up to date. They keep making changes to this or that, and they're not letting us know what's going on. And a lot of it, we're having to play with the updated version of the application in order to learn, and then we have to check with support to verify what we're trying to make sure that we understand what the change is. And honestly, I mentioned that there should be memos, newsletters sent out at least on a weekly basis, explaining changes that are being done to the system's formula, or what is expected to be coming in the next week's update, kind of thing, because we do kind of feel blindsided. And then, like, one person will say this, and then shortly after, someone else will say this, and until we have more than one sort, until we're all being told the same thing. So now I make at least the third person being told this updated information. Your original breakdown of the XP is pasted below. If there is a retcon or errata, please let me know, and be aware, as with the original reply, a new video will be filmed with your reply so that I can explain any changes for my channel. They can see I am getting my information from an official source. Constant undocumented system changes will eventually hurt the credibility of the company. Hurts my credibility to keep supporting this company when it reaches that point. So please make note to relay that point. I know I am one person with little following, but as the rabid supporters lose faith, they will begin sowing dissent among user base simply by airing grievances such as this. Those of us most active on the Discord channel are highly frustrated, but we are holding faith and working with your company. The company needs to stop working against us, or eventually that will be forced to change. Now, I mean, I still love Blast. I love what they do. Yes, I am frustrated with their ability to communicate with us. Now, I wanted to make a point. I showed the first letter because I believe I covered the whole thing, but I will go ahead and you see that I said that I would be making a video. I'm going to go back to the first video, the first letter, so you can see that. Alright, so again, this is the first letter. Alright, so Keith ends, and then it goes back to what my message was, which even linked the video that I on. Now, there's a reason why I bring this up. Okay, this is the end of the last of the reply that I just received earlier. Confidentiality notice. This email and any attachment and the information therein is confidential, intended for the named recipients, and may contain material that is proprietary, privileged, or otherwise private under applicable law. It may not be used or disclosed to others without permission from the sender. If you have received this message in error or are not a named recipient, you are advised that any disclosure, copying, distribution, or use of this email for the information in its content is strictly prohibited. We ask you immediately to notify the sender by return email. We instruct you to delete this email message and any attachment from your computer. Thank you. Now, obviously, what I asked about is information that should be readily available to anyone using Blast or considering using Blast, because everyone needs to understand how the system works. Now, they knew with the first video I'm making, they knew with the first email, I'm making videos with this information. I made sure to state that in my last email. So, yeah, I'm annoyed with this confidentiality notice that has never been put into any of my emails before. They've never replied with this until I specifically state, be aware your email will be on screen for my video. And point blank, I don't care, because this information is not confidential. I asked with the intent to share it. It is information that everyone should know. And there's no proprietary computer formula in place. It is just you do, as a user, you do this happens. So yeah, so alright, so I know the information I provided about XP before, but for your convenience, per this email below are the ways to build your total XP with the updated time trigger. So, alright, our daily available Blast account balance remains the same. Missions remain the same. Time triggers. Every minute you play games while having a time trigger greater than 0, you earn 1 XP. So instead of 10, you're earning 1. That's certainly not confidential. I mean, so they took 9 XP per minute off, and that's fine as long as it works for everyone that way. It's not a big deal. Because, I mean, I sometimes I look at them like, why do we need a higher value anyway? If we have nothing that is at 1 in the first place, there's no point in having anything higher than 1, because 1 is essentially your base. That is the smallest you can get without breaking down into fractions or decimals. So we're going to ignore the fraction and the decimal. 1 is your base. If there's not anything higher, if there's not anything at 1, then there's no real value to anything higher than 1. I mean, I'll work with most systems start with the lowest thing being higher than 1, but the system works fine, but there's no real value to it if you don't have a base to compare it to. So like these emissions with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, they have more value against a time trigger of 1 compared to a time trigger of 10. Now, 1,000 XP on the daily, because you still get 10 XP per dollar. So that makes that dollar worth more than if it's as in that sense than the time triggers, which so I actually like the fact that they reduced the XP to 1. And I certainly don't see why this information would be considered quote unquote confidential. But yeah, I made a point to put in the video what they sent me last time, showing there was no confidentiality notice. I sent my email showing, hey, I'm making a video with this information, so just be aware of that. Then they decided to put confidentiality. You know what I'm doing beforehand, and I'm not going to let you change the system and how I do my work before just because you're finally clear on how I do my work. You know what? The point of having the email in is to hold Blast accountable for their information that they are providing, as well as to show that I'm getting my information from a reputable source rather than just spouting something without any sources provided. So yeah. So yeah, time triggers from 10 XP to 1 XP. It's not it looks like a huge difference when you suddenly realize that you're not making tens of thousands a week, but you're only making a few thousand. But when everyone is in that same boat, there's no real advantage. I mean, if you've got a bigger advantage if you're actually doing your missions and you've actually got $100, then you've got an advantage over the people that aren't doing the missions and don't have $100 in their account, because 100 is going to be the 1,000 point max. You've got an advantage over people with the time triggers that you didn't have before whenever you're doing the missions and the daily, because I mean, if they played more, then you would, and with multiple devices, then they could still generate more than you can make playing properly and doing the missions and having 100 points. So I mean, that was a good balancing decision. But yeah, I'm done with the rant. I've reported the updated information, and we're going to I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I know I'm venting and ranting about Blast and the way they do things, but they're still a good company. Now, there's some people that have already decided, screw the leaderboards, just accept that missions are free money, as well as the interest. So, you know what? There's still that. If you find that the leaderboards are utter bull, then just play your games, enjoy saving your money, collect the interest, collect the dividends off of your missions, and you may end up lucking up and still getting a few extra for placing on the leaderboard if you're not trying. And really, I mean, the leaderboard is a great feature when you know what you're doing, and when they decide to make enough changes to where the rabid supporters don't feel like the system is being gamed by everyone else. Because if I can actively play 3 different games on 3 different devices. I mean, I have to look at this one, then and then it's going to still run while I'm looking over at this one and checking everything on it, and then cycle through. And while I am actively playing them, I am actively getting 3 XP. So I mean, there's some, and I still I still see the gap between what I need and what I have getting bigger at times. So I can understand why people are going to be perturbed. So just, dividends and any placement you get, still free money. I mean, and then you can withdraw any of your money at any time. Remember, 3 to 5 business days. I recommend giving it a week because weekends and holidays don't count. Other than that, it's free money. And free money is never a bad thing. But anyway, yeah, I'm out. Again, like, share, subscribe, join us. Comment down below, let me know what you think. And I will... It'll probably end up being Saturday before my next Chrono Trigger gets updated because my internet got delayed. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Later.